Welcome to PH Insight. Know the force behind the flag. Whether it's warships, fighter jets, or the next big defense move, if it matters to Philippine security, it's here. If tomorrow, a squadron of Chinese warships suddenly sailed into Philippine waters, what would happen? The Navy would certainly shadow them with its frigates. On the coast, missile batteries would be placed on alert. But the bigger question looms overhead: who controls the skies above those waters? This single question points us toward a surprising answer, a fighter jet many Filipinos may not have expected to enter the conversation. For the first time, the Philippine Air Force is openly considering Japan's Mitsubishi F-2 Fighter as part of its future modernization program. If this actually happens, it could reshape not only Philippine air power, but also the balance of power in the West Philippine Sea. This story is not just about jets. It's about sovereignty, alliances, and survival. The Philippines has always had a complicated relationship with air defense. For years, our skies were left unguarded. When the Air Force retired its aging fleet of F-5 Freedom fighters in the mid-2000s, the nation had no true combat aircraft. For more than a decade, the Philippine skies were essentially undefended against any modern air threat. It was only in 2015, with the arrival of the South Korean-made Fa-50PH trainer fighters, that the Air Force regained a semblance of jet capability. These aircraft have been useful, fast, versatile, and capable of light combat roles. But the Fa-50 is still a step below a true multi-role fighter. Its limited radar range, payload, and endurance mean it cannot fully dominate contested skies or project power far out at sea. This is why the discussion about the Mitsubishi F-2 matters so much. For the first time, the Air Force is considering an aircraft that can do more than fill a gap. It wants a fighter that can secure the nation's skies, strike ships at sea, and integrate into a larger defense network with allies. The story of the F-2 began in the 1990s. Japan, concerned about defending its island nation against growing threats in the Pacific, wanted a new fighter. Instead of building one alone, it partnered with the United States. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries worked alongside Lockheed Martin, and the result was an aircraft that, at first glance, resembles the American F-16. But the similarities end quickly. Japan didn't want a copy, it wanted an improved machine tailored for its needs. The wings were stretched and strengthened, fuel tanks enlarged, and new avionics added. Most importantly, the F-2 became the first operational fighter in the world equipped with an active electronically scanned array, AESA, radar, a technology that allows pilots to detect and track multiple threats with remarkable speed and precision. This was a leap ahead of its time. While other Asian nations still relied on older radars, Japan's F-2 could scan the skies for fighters and the seas for warships with unmatched clarity. Even more significantly, the F-2 was designed with Japan's maritime challenges in mind. Surrounded by contested waters, Tokyo wanted a fighter that could patrol far and wide, carrying heavy anti-ship missiles to deter any hostile navy. It could fly long distances, stay on station for extended patrols, and deliver powerful strikes against enemy fleets. For anyone familiar with the Philippines' challenges today, this mission should sound very familiar. Fast forward to 2025. Japan is already transitioning to the fifth-generation F-35 Lightning II and developing a brand new stealth fighter with Britain and Italy. That leaves the F-2 in an interesting position. The aircraft still has plenty of service life left, but it may begin to be phased out of Japanese service in the early 2030s. This is where the Philippines enters the picture. Philippine Air Force Chief Lieutenant General Arthur Cordura recently confirmed that the Mitsubishi F-2 is on the Air Force's shortlist of candidates for its long-delayed multi-role fighter MRF, acquisition project. While no deal is on the table yet, the fact that Manila is even considering the F-2 is significant. If the Philippines pursued this path, it wouldn't just be buying planes. It would be making a decision about the kind of air force it wants to build for the next decade and beyond. Of course, strategy cannot be separated from budget. When Japan first built the F-2, the price tag was staggering, around $120 million per unit, making it one of the most expensive fighters of its time. Much of this was due to the unique research, limited production run, and Japan's insistence on advanced technology. Today, a brand new F-2, if Japan were even willing to build more, could still cost close to $100 million per aircraft. For a squadron of 12, that's roughly 56 billion Cuban pesos, a massive sum considering the Philippines is also paying for submarines, missile systems, new ships, and additional FA-50s. But there's another possibility. If Japan decides to retire some of its F-2s early and make them available for export, the Philippines might acquire refurbished units at a lower price. A package including upgrades, spare parts, and training could make it more realistic, though still not cheap. The financial challenge is real, especially since the Philippines has already earmarked 40 billion Cuban pesos for additional FA-50s and faces multiple modernization demands under Horizon 3 of its military program. Let's pause and picture what the F-2 could bring. From Basa Air Base in Pampanga, F-2s roar into the sky. Their AESA radars sweep vast stretches of ocean, detecting both aircraft and ships. Beneath their wings hang long-range anti-ship missiles, capable of striking Chinese destroyers long before they approach Philippine reefs. With a combat radius of more than 800 kilometers, the F-2 could patrol the Spratlys from Luzon, or even stretch north to the Bashi Channel near Taiwan, a vital choke point. For the first time, the Philippine Air Force would have the ability not just to defend land, but to project power across the archipelago and beyond. Even more, the F-2 is deeply interoperable with American and Japanese systems. Imagine Philippine pilots flying alongside US F-16s and Japanese F-35s, all linked through secure data links. That's not just symbolism, that's real deterrence. This vision fits perfectly into the broader strategy of Horizon 3, the Philippine military's modernization blueprint. The goal is not just to buy equipment, but to create a layered defense across land, sea, and air. At sea, Philippine Navy frigates like the BRP Jose Rizal patrol the waters. On land, Army and Marine BrahMos coastal batteries prepare to deny access to enemy fleets. In the sky, Air Force fighters like the F-2 provide air cover and strike power. Together, this triad forms a credible deterrent. If a Chinese flotilla advances toward Mischief Reef, it would face three simultaneous threats: frigates shadowing them, coastal missiles locked on, and fighters overhead armed with anti-ship weapons. This is how smaller nations can create balance against bigger powers, not by matching them ship for ship or plane for plane, but by weaving a network of defenses that makes aggression too costly. This is how smaller nations can create balance against bigger powers, not by matching them ship for ship or plane for plane, but by weaving a network of defenses that makes aggression too costly. Beyond the hardware, the political meaning of an F-2 deal would be enormous. For most of its post-war history, Japan did not export arms at all. Its pacifist constitution and defense-oriented posture kept it from selling weapons abroad. But in recent years, Tokyo has begun to relax these restrictions, allowing limited exports to close partners. If the Philippines were to become the first nation to operate the Mitsubishi F-2, it would mark a historic milestone in Japan-Philippines relations. It would send a strong message to the world that Manila is not alone. It is forging new security ties with Tokyo, alongside its long-standing alliance with Washington. Such a step would go beyond military hardware. It would symbolize the Philippines' commitment to a rules-based order in the South China Sea, working hand in hand with regional allies to defend freedom of navigation.